So let's talk about what's going on with the taxpayer funds flowing to the Chinese entities that conducted coronavirus research before the COVID pandemic. We know from the General Accounting Office that happened. And now the DNI, I think this, if I'm not mistaken, Pete, they are supposed to declassify any intelligence which shows coronavirus research, other related activities performed at the Wuhan Institute of Virology prior to the outbreak of COVID-19. This is now required. This is not, no later than, because this is what was happened. No later than 90 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Director of National Intelligence shall declassify, it goes on and on, activities performed by the Wuhan Institute of Virology on behalf of the People's Liberation Army and so on and so forth. Yet I don't think we have this information yet, Pete. I think the deadline was yesterday. Am I mistaken on the deadline or their intent to give up the information?
I think you're right on the deadline, and the intent for them to give up the information is, Steve, bottom line is who can actually trust them at this point? This is more than 3 years, 3.5 years after the beginning of the quote-unquote virus in January of 2020. Is when I received first notification that this probably came from the lab in Wuhan. And, slowly information is dribbled out for 3.5 years. And the other thing on this, those of us that were talking about it coming from a lab earlier than that, we were mocked, we were ridiculed, we were called conspiracy theorists. We were, some of us.
We were right, is what we were, Pete. We were right. That's what we were. We were called a lot of things. What we weren't called is right, but that's what we were the whole time. And I still believe firmly the virus was on the ground in this country in the fall of 2019, long before we were ever told it was here. So what are we going to learn? Are they going to release the information? What are we going to be told? What's the official position going to be? We know that 2 of the intelligence agencies have already said, looks like it came from a lab. So they're slowly trying to kind of back into this thing that they know damn well is true. Pete, they know it. We know it. We've known it the whole time.
I was going to say, not only did we know it, the scary thing here, Steve, is they knew it.
Of course
all
they
right?
did.
We're not coming up with startling new information 3 years later. They knew in the early part of January or of 2020 that this most likely came from a laboratory. It's not that I agree. At certain times, you are absolutely brilliant. At certain times, I follow your lead on these types of issues. We knew, they knew, and they lied. They protected China for 3.5 years. It tells you how deeply ingrained we are to the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, as you said, we sent, in this latest report, we sent $2 million going through where? Oh, the Eco Health Alliance. Did we ever hear of them before? Oh, yeah, they were the ones that sent out the information that said,
that's right.
No, it's possible this came out of a lab. How stupid can you people be that you thought it came from a lab?
Right.